Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak before you today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Naura Hasna Setiawan from 9F. Have you ever thought about something too much, even when you knew it wouldn't change anything? That's overthinking. Well, in this presentation, I'm going to share some information about what overthinking is, why it happens, and how it affects us. For this presentation, we will begin from the introduction, continue by data analysis, and wrap it up by summary and recommendation. But before that, let me tell you about the Islamic value for this presentation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ولا تهنوا ولا تحزنوا وأنتم الأعلون إن كنتم مؤمنين. Do not feel weak and do not grieve, for you are the highest in rank if you are believers. Quran Surat Al Imran, verse 139. Next, we move on to the introduction. The background of the problem is mental health is an important aspect of a teenager's life. Poor mental health can lead to various psychological issues, and one of the most common issues is overthinking. Overthinking has many negative effects that can impact teenagers' mental health and emotional development. Therefore, students need to understand how to overcome overthinking in order to maintain their mental well-being and support healthy emotional growth. Problem statement for this presentation is first, why do teenagers experience overthinking? The second is what effect does overthinking have on teenagers' mental health and emotional development? And the third is how can overthinking be overcome during teenagers? The objective of this presentation is first to find out why teenagers can experience overthinking. Second is to determine the effect of overthinking on mental health and emotional development in teenagers. And the third is to learn how to overcome overthinking during teenagers. This presentation will use a research method that collects information using Google Forms and then displays the results using pie charts. Before we move on to data analysis, we need to know what overthinking is. According to Very Well Mind, overthinking is a condition in which a person is trapped in a cycle of repetitive and uncontrollable thought. Now we move on to data analysis. The following are the results obtained from a Google Forms survey of teenagers. The first question is, how often do you dwell on past events? About 51.6% teenagers says often, and 48.4% says sometimes. The second question is, do you often think about what other people think of you? 55.9% says maybe, and 44.1% says yes. The third question is, do you often dwell on past mistakes and feel guilty? 6.5% says no, 35.5% says maybe, and 58.1% says yes. The next question is, do you have trouble sleeping because you have too many thoughts? About 35.5% says no, and 22.6% says maybe, and 41.9% says yes. The fifth question is, do you feel mentally exhausted because you have too many thoughts? 32.3% says no, 32.3% says maybe, and 35.5% says yes. The next question is, how often do you have trouble focusing because your mind won't stop racing? 9.7% says never, 51.6% says sometimes, and 38.7% says often. The next question is, do you feel like your mood changes easily when you think too much? 22.6% says no, 9.7% says maybe, and 7.7% says yes. The next question is, do you feel that your excessive thinking makes you quick to anger or prone to stress? 25.8% says no, 22.6% says maybe, and 51.6% says yes. The next question is, do you feel that overthinking makes it difficult for you to believe in yourself or trust others? 16.1 says no, 35.5% says maybe, and 48.4% says yes. The next question is, do you usually share your thoughts with others when you overthink? 16.1% says yes, 41.9% says no, and 41.9% says maybe. The 10th question is, what are some things that often keep you thinking? 17.8% says relationship problems, 32.9% says academic demands, 26% says busy schedule, and 23.3% says high parental expectation. And the last question is, in your opinion, how can we overcome overthinking? Overall, the average student responded that recognize the excessive thinking pattern, shift your attention to positive activities, and seek professional help if it interferes with your daily life is the best way to overcome overthinking. Now, let me briefly summarize today's presentation. Overthinking is a common condition experienced by teenagers that affects mental health and behavior. The factors most often cited as triggers for overthinking include academic demands, busy schedules, high expectations from parents, and social relationship problems. According to the data, some teenagers have strategies for dealing with it, such as engaging in positive activities, calming themselves down, and talking to someone they trust. And I would like to give some recommendation. School should be a second home for students, creating a positive environment that supports them. A healthy environment plays an important role in maintaining emotional stability and mindset in teenagers. Teachers at school must be able to act as educators as well as parental figures, friends, and confidant for students. That's the end of my presentation. Thanks for having me here. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.